Welcome, everyone. So, today we're going to move beyond the simple hellos and goodbyes and really dig into something foundational for making connections in Mandarin Chinese, talking about family. And I want to be clear from the start, this is way more than just a vocabulary list. This is our entry point into the cultural mindset itself.
Just think about it for a second. In any culture, when you first meet someone, what do you talk about? You might talk about your job, your hobbies, but almost always the topic of family comes up. It's a pretty universal way to show you're interested in them as a person. But in the context of Chinese culture, asking about family has a special weight, a deeper significance that we're really going to unpack today. So, to get a real handle on this, we're going to center our entire session today around one single, powerful question. We're going to take it apart, piece by piece, look at the vocabulary, the sounds, the grammar, and then put it all back together. By the end, you'll understand not just what it means, but why it matters. Let's get started.
Okay, here it is. This is our key sentence for the day. I'm going to say it very slowly first, and I really want you to try and repeat after me. Ready? 你有兄弟姐妹吗? Good. Now let's try it at a more natural speed. 你有兄弟姐妹吗? Literally, this translates to, do you have siblings? It seems pretty straightforward, right? But trust me, this one sentence is packed with linguistic and cultural details, especially in that big word for siblings.
All right, to truly understand this sentence, just memorizing the sounds isn't going to cut it. We have to be detectives here and look at the building blocks, the characters themselves. Every single character has its own story, its own internal logic. So let's start with the heart of the phrase, 兄弟姐妹, the word for siblings.
Our very first character is xiong, pronounced xiong. This means older brother. Now, this is important. In Chinese culture, the difference between older and younger is a huge deal. So there's no single word for brother. You always specify. And we always start with the elder.
Now, pay very close attention to the sound here. The tone is the first tone, xiong. It needs to be high and flat, like you're holding a single note. A really common mistake for learners is to let their voice drop off at the end. You have to keep it level, xiong. Now, if we look at the character itself, it's made of the radical for mouth, ko, sitting right on top of the radical for person, You can think of this as representing the older brother as the one who speaks, the one with authority in the family. And here's the other side of that coin. Di, pronounced thi. This is for younger brother. See? It's a totally different character, which just reinforces how important that age hierarchy is. The tone here is the complete opposite. It's the fourth tone, the falling tone. It's sharp, decisive. Listen, D. It has the same force as saying go or stop in English. Practice that quick drop in pitch. And if we look inside the character, you can spot the radical yum, which means bow. A common way to interpret this is to think of sequence or order, like arrows being shot from a bow. The younger brother always follows the elder in sequence. Okay, let's switch gears to the female siblings. And you guessed it, we start with the elder, jie or jie for older sister.
Now, this character uses the third tone, and let's be honest, this one can be a real challenge for new learners. Your pitch has to go down and then back up. Listen, jie. Try to trace that little dip with your voice. But the most important thing to see here is the radical on the left side, nu. This is the character for woman. You have to burn this radical into your memory. It's going to show up in tons of characters related to females, and it's an immediate, powerful clue to what a character might mean.
And to complete our set, our fourth and final sibling character is Mei, pronounced Mei for younger sister.
Listen to that tone again. It's that same sharp falling fourth tone, just like we heard with Di, Mei. And look, there it is again, on the left side, that all-important woman radical, nu. So once you see that radical, you have a pretty strong hint that the character has something to do with being female. Mastering these radicals is like learning the alphabet. It's absolutely fundamental.
Okay. We've got our core vocabulary down. Now we can zoom out and look at how to actually build the sentence. I know a lot of students get a little intimidated by the idea of Chinese grammar, but as you're about to see, in a basic sentence like this, it can be surprisingly logical.
This table lays it out perfectly. We start with the subject, ni, which is you. Then comes the verb, yo, to have. And finally, we have the object, our new compound word, 兄弟姐妹, which means siblings. Now, noticed anything familiar? Subject, verb, object. It's the exact same basic word order we use in English, which is a fantastic head start for us.
So how do we actually make this a question? Well, this is the simple beauty of the particle ma. You take a perfectly good statement, 你要兄弟姐妹,
You have siblings, and you just tack ma on the end. That's it. It magically turns the whole thing into a yes or no question. The tone is neutral, it's light, it's quick. Ma? It's an incredibly efficient little piece of grammar.
So let's say the person answers yes. What's the natural follow-up? You're probably going to want to ask, how many? This is a crucial next step in the conversation, and it introduces one of the most common points of confusion for new learners. So let's pay close attention. The question you'd ask is this: 你有几个兄弟姐妹? This translates to, how many siblings do you have? The new words here are ji, which is used to ask how many for small countable numbers, and ga, which is a general-purpose measure word. You almost always need a measure word like this when you're counting nouns. But the really critical lesson here isn't in the question itself, it's in how you form the answer.
Okay, everyone, this is so important. In English, we just have one word, two. Simple. But in Mandarin, there are two ways to say it. You use R when you're just counting in a sequence, like 1, 2, 3. I, R, san. But, and this is the key, when you are talking about a quantity of something, two of something, you must use liang. So the correct way to say, I have two brothers is 我有两个兄弟. You would never say 我有二个兄弟. Getting this right is a huge step that will make you sound so much more natural.
We've covered the mechanics, the words, the tones, the grammar. Now we get to the real soul of the lesson. Why is this question so foundational? Learning the words is just the first step. Understanding the culture behind them is what turns you into a real communicator.
It's absolutely crucial to understand that in Chinese-speaking cultures, the family is the central unit of society. So when you ask about someone's siblings, you're doing more than just making small talk. You're showing that you get it. You're acknowledging the importance of family and its built-in hierarchies. You understand the difference between a gege and a didi. This question shows a deeper, personal interest, and it's a fundamental step in building what's known as guanxi, or guanxi. Guanxi is this incredibly important concept of a network of trust and relationships that is essential for navigating both personal and professional life. So this seemingly simple question is a warm, safe, and expected way to open the door to a real connection.
And that really brings us to our main takeaway today. The sentence, 你有兄弟姐妹吗, isn't just a question. It's a tool. It's a key that can unlock a much deeper cultural conversation. And that's exactly what we've done here, isn't it? By learning these few characters, ani, ototo, che, me, and the grammar that ties them together, we haven't just learned to ask a question. We've opened a new window that lets us see the importance of family, of hierarchy, and of personal connection in Chinese culture.
So, I'll leave you with this to think about. What are the common, simple questions we ask in our own cultures? What do you do for a living? Where are you from? What deep-seated values do those questions reveal about our own societies? Remember, language is never just words. It's a map to a culture's heart. Thank you.